Hey,
Hey, how's it going?
I worked again. Hello.
All right, cool.
It's
We're
going
on.
well. Good to see you.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that office. It's so cool. Okay, so I would like to
Thank you.
you
Yeah.
welcome. Is there a lag?
Um. Yeah. The video quality is a little bit different than
Okay.
previously. You're a little bit jumpy. Like your
Yeah.
videos staticky.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it may be that way for a little while. So I'm sorry. I apologize for that.
Okay.
Okay. We'll do our best, and there'll be some cakes, but we'll be all right.
Uh-huh. Great. Let's
All right.
go. Let me
All
set
right.
up my
Oh, please do.
natural site in here. It's kind of like I'm gonna do this, and so we can have this sort of like very unnatural uh, red coast redwood, paper birch,
Yes.
bald cypress forest because I can't be actually out in nature. Oh, and then my bristlecone pine
Oh, wow.
uh, sample right
Very
here.
cool. Yeah, I love that paper birch. That's beautiful.
I know those paper birch is fun. Um, to burn the bark in our lab. So we test out the idea that you can like start fires with wet paper birch
Oh,
bark in one of my
yeah.
dendrology classes. So we douse it with water, we can light it on fire. Highest BTUs per weight, I think, for any tree.
Oh, that's super rad. I love it. I love that community assemblage in the office too. That's not gonna find that anywhere else.
No. Yeah,
All
it's a new
right.
plant
Well,
association group.
for sure. Okay, so I'm gonna kick it off. Are you ready? This is Dr. Rebecca Franklin, and are you ready for your bio?
Hello. I am ready for the bio. Let's hear.
Okay, here's what I've
How do
got.
things appear from the outside? Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Well, this is my brain, so we'll see. All right. So, Dr. Rebecca Franklin is an assistant professor and the Forest Resources Program Director at Central Oregon Community College in beautiful Bend, Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
Rebecca is passionate about some of the most important things in life, like tree rings, plants. I wore my plant shirt, and working tirelessly to ensure that all people have access to learning about forests. Finally, a fun and true fact about Dr. Franklin. She is an active member of the Twitter Health and Safety Police Forest Division, devoted to calling out unsafe work habits, such as wearing non-OSHA approved footwear when using a hatchet. She called me out, so there we go. Welcome, Rebecca. It's so good to chat with you.
And I have.
Let's see. Yeah, let's see. What do you have?
In honor of that, I've worn my Vans.
That's awesome. See, forest people are just they're the coolest.
I can wear these because I am not chopping wood.
Fair enough.
So yeah.
Oh, that's fun. I love it. Yeah, I love the color of those Vans.
But if I were to go out in the wood, I would have. Oops, I can't. Hold on. My oops, where's my hard hat hanging? There we go.
Oh, yeah.
So we have two hard hats over there in the corner. So if I were to be in a situation, I could engage the proper PPE.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you demonstrated that better than I did. That's for sure. All right. So if we're ready, we'll just start with you kind of opening up, telling us a little bit about who you are and how you got to be where you are and what you do. Just kind of that general synopsis of all things Dr. and pre-Dr. Rebecca Franklin.
Sure. Yeah. So like you mentioned, I'm here at a community college. And so that we kind of chatted, you and I, but Joe chatted about that previously, like the community college, I like the ideas surrounding community college and what it is. And everybody likes to make fun of community college, myself included. We take a, you know, lighthearted view of ourselves, but we also are very proud of what we produce here. So I started out at a community college and had a circuitous route to higher education, through higher education, sort of for various reasons, thought I needed to get a really practical degree. And then ultimately kind of found my way to forestry because of the field trips. So as a student, I looked at, you know, the course catalog and I saw a lot of field trips listed under this forestry degree. And I thought that's pretty cool. And the further I worked through that, I was seriously impressed with the idea that you could implement science in an outdoor setting and actually affect change on the ground in real time. And so that's sort of what forestry is for me, is like, you know, you can use the science of tree ecophysiology and silviculture to get out there and, you know, traditionally is like timber production, how to grow the best, fastest growing trees. But it's just an amazing tool to create fire resilient forests or riparian habitat or animal habitat. So I was pretty impressed with the practical application of silviculture, you know, in the field of forestry. So that's what caught my eye. And then I was a little bit disillusioned going through the forestry program because I'm not a timber beast. So back in the like early 2000s, it was still sort of like really like timber beast versus environmentalist, and I just kind of kept my head down. So I wasn't quite comfortable with that dichotomy, and I wanted to do more science, but didn't quite have a spot for myself. And I had a geology minor, and Bud Burke was this crazy geology professor. He was a quaternary geologist. And I was like, well, this is kind of cool. I wonder if you could do some sort of like reconstruction of past events with trees. Is that a thing? And he was like, oh, you might be interested in dendrochronology. There's like, here's a paper on it. You might want to look it up. And I was like, oh, wow, this is the coolest concept I've heard of. Like it was amazing. I couldn't believe that like such a thing was out there, and it was science, and it was like you could implement it in management. So that was it for me, and I figured out where I could go to study that. Tucson, the deserts of Tucson. So I went down to the tree ring lab there and worked with folks at the tree ring lab. I worked on bristlecone pine, a little bit of computer work. Oh shoot! My sample fell down into the heart.
That's okay. It's a resilient species. It'll be okay.
So worked on bristlecone pine a little bit and tried to find something that was my own. And I was super interested in height. I just wanted to be up above tree line. So the bristlecone pine forest was great. And then I ended up looking at rings in high elevation, long-lived shrubs. So this is this continuation of the circuitous route through, you know, what I ended up doing. And so I did my dissertation on like dendroecology of small shrubs, small long-lived shrubs. Linanthus is the species that I looked at mainly, but all sorts of high elevation shrubs in the Sierra Nevada range on rock glaciers. So it just had like a geomorph component, a dendro component. I looked at whitebark pine that was growing up on these rock glaciers. So I put that together into a degree and finished up writing a paper here in Bend, and thought, I could probably do something at the community college briefly. And coincidentally, there is this great position actually open here, and I went for it and was able to compete successfully. So here I am. So that's my story, kind of through, you know, starting community college and ending up back in community college.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I think this is
full
like
circle.
the spot I'm settling to all the time.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a great story. I love that.
But
love that.
Being with students here is fantastic. Yeah.
No, that's cool. Well, and like I had mentioned to
Yeah.
you that, you know, I and some of my colleagues as well, and my best friend who just finished his PhD, we talk all the time about how impactful community college was for us. And not only that, I mean, that was the launch pad, you know. If I hadn't done that, you know, I thought I was going to be an engineer, and I didn't end up being an engineer because I figured that out in community college, and it gave me the ability to, you know, the flexibility to find my passion. And I had this amazing professor, Julian Hilliard, who I think has gone back to get his PhD now, which is really cool. And but I've always been fascinated with biology, and he reconnected me with that, and went from just kind of reading popular science magazines and looking stuff up on the internet to getting into the research and getting into the study of it. And and now I'm still working on finishing up, much to the chagrin of my advisor, but he's patient with me, my own master's. And but yeah, I owe all of that to that platform of being able to enter back into college for a new degree path.
Yeah. When did you start you're finishing up your dissertation? When did you start on that?
Yeah, well, for my master's, what was that? I think the fall of 2017, maybe, or 18. I think it was 17. Okay. Yeah. So I took like a year off in there, but, you know, mostly it's just hinged upon me, you know, sitting down, writing and all of that stuff. But yeah. And now I'm like spending time
writing
chatting
is
with
so
people.
Hard. You
Yeah.
got to be out there chopping wood in your vans and meeting folks. Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
It took me 8 years to do my dissertation.
Yeah.
One of the things, like when I tell my story to students, I tell them that it took me 9 years to finish my bachelor's. So a lot of that, so we have non-traditional students in our classes. So they're called non-traditional. It just means like they're starting school when they're 30 or whatever. So you have a lot of those folks. And I tell them it took me 9 years to do my bachelor's, 8 years to do my graduate degree. But like all that time I took off, like really helped. Like I have friends who, they hit it. They were like a professor at a Research One university at the age of 30, and some of them are looking back and, you know, 20 years later saying, I don't know, like if I'd taken some more time, I would have done something else.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no, that's right.
Yeah,
that time off was time lived.
Yeah, sure. I went to Boulder, Colorado for several years, and that's where I was able to slowly think about like wanting to go back to college. So that was like a couple of years of community college, Boulder, Colorado, snowboarding and mountain biking and like being out in nature and thinking like, I need to like actually find a way to commodify this. Be able to do stuff like this professionally. So back to more community college, then like launched into the university system. So it's,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I love
No
that.
hurry, but,
I love that. And I just think, like, you know, had you not done that, you know, you would not have ended up where you are, you know, potentially anyways. And same for me, for sure. That's really cool.
yeah.
Speaking of which,
Yeah.
since we're talking about our own pathways, and they envelop, you know, community college, at least an aspect of it does. What are specifically, like, you know, the forest resources side of things? What is it that, you know, you do with students, or can you kind of put a plug in, or just kind of better describe what you do in your role there?
Sure. Yeah. So a little bit about our program. So so it's a 2-year college. So we have all these transfer degrees. It's the typical community college system. High quality education for a lot less
Yeah.
across the board. But in particular, we have a forestry technology degree, and that is we have forestry transfer, natural resource transfer, but like what I'm really excited about here is this technology degree, and it's a 2-year kind of terminal. You know, you get that degree and you go out into the field as a, you know, forestry technician. But it's a ton of hands-on skills. So all the tree ID, plant ID, animal identification. We have a wildlife biologist on faculty here, so we have this great wildlife component. And then silviculture, harvesting, applied forest ecology, map compass, GPS, forest surveying, GIS courses, and then we have some like conservation of natural resources, discussing issues in conservation. So it really runs the gamut, and it's just like this super intensive, extensive, hands-on skill set that we provide. And a cool thing about us is that we are SAF accredited, so Society of American Foresters is the professional organization for foresters here in the US, and they accredit forestry schools. So, you know, Humboldt State, where I did my bachelor's, that's an accredited forestry school. OSU is another fantastic one, but not a lot of community colleges are accredited by SAF, but we are one, and we just went through our accreditation, 10-year accreditation process, which was rigorous. I'm glad that's done.
I imagine so,
but
yeah.
We re-upped our accreditation status for another 10 years. And it just means that like there's a seriously quality set of courses and skills that you're going to get through the program. But the students, they all work in mainly for the Forest Service. You know, here in the Western US, we have tons of federal land, and so we have Forest Service, there's BLM over on the west side, the wet side of the Cascades, and Oregon Department of Forestry, and then we have a lot of private timber. So our graduates are super highly regarded, and yeah, we're happy to get those students kind of placed in the field. So that's kind of what students want when they show up. They want, like, they're interested in a job. They oftentimes want to work in, you know, Pacific Northwest. It's like this great forestry location, and it is. So that's kind of what I do, and just working on making the program better and trying to deal with COVID restrictions right now, 2021 right now. So we're kind of hopefully coming out of it, but in the fall, we still have remote lecture, you know, that we have to deal with, but we're lucky. Out of the college, we get to have our labs in person because we can kind of like cut down on the size. We're outdoors, we're socially distanced, we can mask up, and our, you know, the skill sets we're dealing with, you have to actually be there doing it in person.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's
awesome.
Kind of what we do here. And we have a capstone course where the students get to design some sort of project. Usually it's a management plan for, you know, maybe there'll be a private landowner who wants to create a fire resilient landscape on their property, and we come in and cruise it and measure the trees and make suggestions Yeah, I think my next capstone that I'm doing next year is going to be, I'm going to try to have our campus be a tree campus USA. We're not
Oh, cool. Yeah.
yet, so I'd like to do that. So that's coming up. So kind of professionally, that's the direction I'm going in, and
Yeah.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I love it. That's awesome. I mean, I feel like I should go and like take some classes with you.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, that's awesome.
Online offerings you can peruse.
Hey, all right, I might do it. I some of the skills that you were, kind of noting off, I was like, whoa, I could sharpen that for sure. So yeah, no, that's awesome. Okay, so I'm kind of taken aback, honestly. I mean, like that's some good stuff you're doing there, and it's awesome that in that part of the U.S. and the part of the world for forestry, that you can offer some of that technical training. They can just get right in and get a job. That's really cool.
Yeah, and we recommend, like transferring on to that 4-year college and maybe a master's to like really, more earning power and more latitude in what you can do. But just getting the tech degree, getting out in the field, getting a feel for what you actually enjoy, and then you pursue college, the upper division stuff after that. I think that's like an excellent track for students to be on. Yeah. And
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. While they're here, they
can jump off at whatever point they need to. Yeah.
Yeah. And we have a lot of like interaction with professionals, like all the students attend SAF meetings and they meet with folks, and I don't know, it's just a pretty fast-paced environment. And yeah,
I can imagine. I mean, it's taken years to, you're constantly reading papers, constantly doing field work, and to kind of absorb the amount of knowledge. To do that in 2 years, that's extremely fast-paced. It has to be a rigorous thing to do. So kudos to everyone that makes it through that program, and that's really cool.
Yeah, I'm impressed with the students who can get it done in those 2 years. Oftentimes you have like, the 3-year track student, the 4-year track student.
I might be a 5-year track. Who knows?
Yeah, given my history, I'd probably be like 5 to 6 year track. But yeah.
Well, I'm glad. We're both in good company, so that's good. All right. So, Rebecca, can I ask you some really deep, difficult questions?
Please go for it. All
right. I start with the hardest one first. Okay.
All right.
So, what is Dr. Franklin's favorite tree?
Well, I thought about that, yeah, you'd think it'd be an easy question. So I have a soft place in my heart for bristlecone pine. Just, like aesthetically, there's nothing that touches the bristlecone pine forest, especially that Great Basin National Park bristlecone pine forest. It's out there. Yeah, so that, and just like the resiliency of those trees and their adaptations for long life strategy. I don't know, it might be like a 3-way tie or something. There's like coast redwood, because I grew up in them, and I'm super interested in like their genetics, how they survive and get reproduced under all sorts of circumstances. And I kind of like, now I've been into endemic trees. So my recent interest area is the Klamath-Siskiyou little corner of like southwestern Oregon. There is an area, there's a really great podcast, In Defense of Plants, and they have an episode on conifers, and it's focused on this diverse little corner of Oregon that has endemic conifers like Port Orford cedar and brewer's spruce. So Port Orford cedar might be up there because of it's rare. It's a great wildlife tree. It persists on the landscape after it dies. It's under threat right now from a root disease. The wood is, I don't know if have you ever worked with Port Orford cedar?
Definitely
Uh,
not.
I might have to like ship you a little sample of it
Oh,
because
please.
it
Yes.
is,
Yes, do.
yeah, it's like you don't come across it too often, and it's under threat here, but
Oh, wow.
the wood is amazing. It has this like ginger lemon fragrance that is just like astounding. I have a little block of it when we cover it in class. I pass it around with a knife and we
Yeah,
shave off
yeah.
a little bit. And
That
students are like,
fresh
"Oh my
smell.
God." Oh yeah, that one looks like a redwood, a little bit grayer bark.
Okay.
And it's a beautiful tree, a beautiful wood. So I'm getting more into like the actual like, wood anatomy and like the look of the wood of different trees and kind of my appreciation, but that might be a new favorite. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd
And
love to see that for
uh-huh.
sure. Oh my God, yeah. I mean, wood anatomy, that's, I mean, I'm not like the best at it, but that's my jam. I love it. I just, I mean, I post those photos of,
Uh-huh.
cookies just because I love them,
Where do you come
So,
across all of your wood samples? I like
I,
checking out the images that you post. Where do
yeah,
you
yeah. No, thanks
wood?
for asking that. Mostly I would say half of those have come from, well, maybe not half of them. The ones that I posted, a lot of them have come from just my place. Trees that I've either grown
Uh-huh.
or, trees that were here, before I was here. And then a
Uh-huh.
lot of them I get from all over the place, just hiking and find a dead branch off the end, just anything that everybody mostly can do. So,
Yeah.
definitely,
Great.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, some people, I haven't had many yet, but some people will send me stuff, but I just always want to make sure that it's definitely, professionally identified, obviously,
Yeah.
or I'm not going to claim it. So, yeah.
Uh-huh.
But yeah. Okay.
All right.
This is awesome. I love the enthusiasm, and yeah, those are some of my favorite trees too. And
Cool.
I'm definitely, I miss that episode of In Defense of Plants, but I'll find it and I'll link that too whenever I post this, because that
Yeah.
definitely sounds like one I want to listen to.
Yeah, it's I'm sure you're probably maybe have heard of, I'm looking for the book right now. Uh Michael Kaufman. He was the
Uh-huh.
guest, and he's written a
Okay.
bunch of guides for trees of the
Yes.
Pacific Slope and like that Klamath-Siskiyou area, which is like this hot spot of conifer diversity. But
Okay.
it's a cool one. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Well, that'll help me find it. I'll find it easy.
Yeah.
I'll just search Kaufman, find it. Okay. So what is your favorite fireside food and beverage?
Yeah. Well, so for this fireside chat, I was thinking of setting myself up outside my house. I have a burn barrel, like a 55-gallon drum
Yeah.
burn barrel that a student made for me, and she laser etched or cut out a tree on the bottom of it. So there's a couple tree cutouts for airflow. So that's my tree
Oh, that's
themed
cool.
fireside burn barrel, area. So I was going to
Yeah.
try to have the meeting out there, but it didn't work.
Yeah.
So when I'm around my fire barrel, gosh, fireside beverage, I like to invite people over and they bring things. So I think
Yeah.
whatever
That's the best when they bring their own.
whatever someone brings to share around there is usually like my favorite at the moment.
I like that.
Yeah,
That's
a friend
great.
recently brought some mezcal from Baja California when he came and visited recently, and it doesn't taste like mezcal. It has like this whiskey taste, and so that's my current favorite, maybe around the fire.
All right. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's that's definitely true to me too. Like when there's just something about that it's like you could have something and you taste it and it's like, yeah, this is all right. But when you're with friends and you're tasting it, you're like, oh yeah, this is the best thing ever. So
Yeah.
I love that. When you have that camaraderie, it definitely makes everything a little bit better.
Yeah. For example, like this weekend, a friend brought boxed white wine, which is
Okay.
okay, but it was great. We had it around.
Yeah, I'm not gonna knock it. I'll drink it.
So anything can be a favorite in the right setting.
That's right. That's right. By the fire, everything's better, right?
Yeah.
Oh, what about beverage or sorry, food? Did you have a food?
Oh, well, it's not frequent, but again, I recently had tamales around the
nice.
barrel, and tamales are my favorite food.
Yeah.
So we got some tamales from someone who was selling them online, like a Craigslist tamales.
Yeah, no, that's right. That's how to do it.
All
right, cool.
Yeah.
All right, thanks for that. Okay. Let me think. So many questions, so little time. I'm gonna flip my page here.
Okay. Yeah, I have your
all right.
questions in the background.
All right. So what book are you reading right now? Or what's the last book that you were able to read?
Oh, I'm reading The Klamath Knot.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, like I am a little more varied in my interest than what I'm kind of representing right now.
sounds pretty niche. You know, you're locked in.
One corner of Oregon, the Klamath Knot.
Yeah.
So this is
cool.
It's an old book, and it's kind of it's fun to look through books that are written a while ago. And one of the things that this author was talking about, so it's about the Klamath area, and the Klamath Knot is this term for like the kind of complex geology of that region. But at the time the book was written, they did not know what caused the extinction of the dinosaurs, and so he has this little phrase or sentence in there about like, oh yeah, and it's something in reference to like, well, if it could be an asteroid or it could be this and that. And I thought, wait, hold on, hasn't this always been in our knowledge? Wait, when did we figure this out? And I looked it up, and it was only like 1980 or 1981 that we figured that out.
Down that massive crater. Yeah.
So
that's so cool. Yeah. No, I've heard great things about the Klamath Knot. I just haven't read it myself yet.
Yeah,
cool.
That one, and The Angle of Repose is another one that I'm reading, and it is not about geology, it's about people.
Okay, good. Yeah, it's nice to have some diversity there in your reading. I'll send you a suggestion about some books in my local area. We've got one over our little niche, whichever. I just use it interchangeably. Okay, so let's see. Oh, what's your favorite book?
Favorite book?
I know I'm hitting you hard with these very exact questions.
Favorite book? You know what? So an author that I just like love reading, and I just find him like so joyful and embracing of like the human experience is Tom Robbins, and he has quite a few books. So Jitterbug Perfume was one of the first books that I read by Tom Robbins, and I just kind of like got into this Tom Robbins kick, and it's fantastical, not quite obeying the laws of our known laws of how we understand the world works. Just kind of like these wild fictional tales of like interactions between people, and he reminds me a little bit of Kurt Vonnegut, who's another kind of it's like a joyful embrace of the absurdity of life is kind of how I would characterize that.
Man, that's good. Yeah, critically acclaimed, it sounds like. I like that.
Yeah, that I do like the embrace of the absurd. That'd be my, if I chose a genre, I don't even know if it's a genre. Absurd.
It is now.
Absurdism is a thing. But yeah.
I like that. That sounds like a fun read, fun author. I'll have to look it up too. Add it to my long list.
What are you reading right now?
Oh gosh. Well, I did read Tree Story
I read that
by Valerie Trey. Yeah, super good. I love it.
That was fun.
Yeah. And then I've got this other book. What's it called? It's a parenting book. I've read a few parenting books.
I don't know titles in that category.
No, it's really good. Oh gosh, I can't remember the name of the book, but it's really good. It kind of goes more into like helping your kids understand how their brain works, which is cool. That's kind of a tack that we try to take with our kids is, teaching you how to think or how you can think, how your brain does think, so that they can kind of always learn what they want to think, if that makes sense. I don't know if I said that exactly
they have
right.
a choice. They're not just at the whim of information coming in. They can formulate their approach to it. That's yeah.
Oh, The Whole Brain Child. That's what it's called.
Oh, yes. I think I might have heard of that. Okay, so
yeah, it's super good. And I acted like I just thought of that. My wife actually just wrote it on a card for me.
She's there with the whiteboard in the background, ensuring.
Oh God, I would not. I mean, I literally wouldn't. But I wouldn't. I can't make it through life without her. That's awesome. Oh, speaking of, this is a great way or a great time to set this up. Is that it is International Women's Day today, and so I'm very pleased to have you on. You're a great exemplar of woman scientist and educator, and all around great person. It certainly seems like after talking to you, with great choice in books. and decor, I will definitely say that too.
And shoes.
Yeah. So okay, let's see. Yeah, Whole Brain Child. That's what we're talking about. Really good book, and it's just for parents. I mean, like it teaches you a lot about yourself, and kind of staying in control. And when you do lose control, first get that awareness of it. Kind of regulate. So it's a good book all around.
Can I recommend a movie that you might like?
Yes.
Ready. So your mention of your child development book made me think of this. So just last night we were watching. It's called "Is the Man Who Is Tall Happy?" That's the name of it, and it is.
I feel like I've heard of that.
Yeah, so
it's recorded. I don't know why I'm writing this down. Go ahead.
Yeah,
okay.
It's and so it's an interview with Noam Chomsky by a French filmmaker, and this French filmmaker, he's an illustrator, and so it's just such an unusual presentation of the material. So it's snippets of this interview, and it's the filmmaker is interested in language and how what we receive in our ears and how we process it. And there's a section about children and like before the age of 18 months, how much they've like absorbed, and they have all these fundamentals of language and stuff that they can't necessarily, they have like 2 words that they can say or something, but how they process that. But I think that would be a cool one for you to add to your.
No, I thank you. I appreciate that. I will I need all the help I can get.
And it's just like, it's kind of like this delightful, like joyous sort of investigation into what Noam Chomsky is doing, and then this filmmaker is grappling with different people dying in his own life, and then he's trying to like get this interview with Noam before he thinks Noam will die, and there's all sorts of stuff going on in the film, but also content that is related to language. So
no, that's awesome. Thanks for that. Okay, well, let's kind of wrap it up, I guess, so that we don't just sit and talk forever and I take up all your time. So could you tell me, do you have a favorite quote, whether science or life or anything?
Well,
Or one you like. It doesn't have to be favorite.
Yeah, there's a lot of quotes. So my dad used to say to us, and I've modified this, you can't take everything that your parents tell you and hold on to it. You have to so his thing that he always told us was, expect nothing, respect everything. So I don't know that I would be as absolute in those two as he presented that, but you know, like the expect nothing approach kind of like avoids it. You're not entitled to anything you might think you're entitled to. And so when you get something, it's a, you know, it's a treat, and it's, you know, you can't expect people to do things for you or whatever. So expect nothing, respect everything. You don't have to respect everything, but approaching the world from that point of like, I'm going to respect what's going on until I'm shown otherwise. But yeah,
Yeah.
Respect nothing, respect everything. And I used to say that, and I never got what I was like, whatever that means. Okay. And then so like lately I've been thinking more about that. So that's my quote.
I like that. It certainly sounds like a way to live gratefully, you know, live a life full of gratitude.
Yeah,
That's
it's a
cool.
suggestion. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. Man, I love these fireside chats.
Yeah.
They're so great.
To the series.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, everyone is different, and I love that. That's how it should be, you know.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
well, what is the best way for people to connect with you?
Well, I have email, and that's always good. So my name is Rebecca Franklin, and I teach at COCC, Central Oregon Community College. So rfranklin@cocc.edu.
Very good.
It. That's very easy, but just Central Oregon Forestry program, Central Oregon Community College Forestry program, that takes you to our website. You can look at all the stuff and find my info, and then we have two other faculty full-time in forestry that are always happy to chat with you.
No, that's wonderful. Yeah. That's wonderful. Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess we'll end it. I have a lot more questions and a lot more things I would love to chat with you about, maybe down the road.
Yes, definitely. Right. That would be fun. It's cool making a new friend. I always think about, like, you know, I have my friends, and it's weird and kind of maybe difficult sometimes to like make a new friend, or just like say, hey, I saw you seem cool, would you like to be my friend? It's kind of
I know that's exactly what I've been doing.
I think it's a great idea, and like it's just neat to see the connections you've been making and being able to meet you. Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Well, thanks. And thanks for saying that. And I look forward to seeing you again. And until then, we'll say see you later, and I'll talk to you later. All right.
Take care, Joe.
All right. Bye. You too. Bye.